Some things don't disappear because they lack value. They vanish because they are tied to a memory the victors want to erase. Chia seeds are a classic example. Before the 16th century, Salvia hispanica was not a smoothie topping. It was a vital indigenous crop in Mesoamerica, eaten as food, used as medicine, and woven into the social order of civilizations such as the Aztec and Maya. But after Spain's conquest of Mexico in the early 16th century, indigenous farming systems were restructured. New crops were introduced. Older ones were pushed back. Chia cultivation declined sharply and gradually became a forgotten plant, surviving only in remote regions. The irony is that nearly 5 centuries later, chia reappears on global supermarket shelves as a symbol of the wellness lifestyle. The question isn't only why it came back, but this, when chia returns. Do we actually understand what it is? Or are we merely consuming a distorted version of its history and science? In every conquest, food is never just food. It is a system. It links land to labor, rations to ritual, and what people eat to what people believe. So when a new empire imposes power, it often changes what people grow and eat as well, because that is how social order is rebuilt from the ground up. Many academic overviews of Chia's history point to the same conclusion after conquest and colonization. Chia farming declined dramatically, replaced by crops introduced by the Spanish and pushed into distant areas, leaving chia nearly absent from mainstream agricultural circulation. Part of the cause was economic change. Land and labor were redistributed. Another part was cultural change. Practices tied to indigenous life and religious ritual were often treated as something to be removed in the name of assimilation.
Metrics are clearly exceeding expectations based on this data.
We don't need to exaggerate it into a story of orders to burn every chia field to grasp the reality. It's enough to understand one rule. Indigenous crops wither when the systems that sustain them, society, retwall. Markets are broken. Chia became a forgotten crop not because it lost its usefulness, but because its context was severed. And precisely because that context was severed, when chia returns in the 20th and 21st centuries, it returns as an inert object. The seed remains, but the ways of using it do not. From there, modern misunderstandings multiply, from the deification of chia's benefits to the scapegoating of chia's side effects, as if the seed itself is somehow the problem. There was no concept of the glycemic index, no language of polymers or enzymes. But humans have always possessed something stronger than a laboratory repeated observation. If something helps you go farther, work longer, feel less fatigued, culture will keep it. Many survey sources note that chia was once a major Mesoamerican crop, used for both food and medicine. In everyday life, chia-based drinks, often referenced through traditions like chia fresca, agua fresca, in modern Mexican culture, are, in mechanism, very close to the idea of a rehydration drink. The seeds are soaked to swell, mixed into water with a sweet-sour flavor and sometimes a pinch of salt. Even though modern recipes vary, the logic stays the same. Water plus seeds that form a gel, plus sweet-sour flavor that makes it easy to drink, plus salt that helps support electrolyte balance. Why does that make biochemical sense? Mucilage, the gel-forming mucilaginous layer, is a hydrophilic structure designed to hold water. When you soak chia, you create a stable gel system. Water becomes captured inside a polymer network. So drinking it is no longer just water passing through,
You have to try one too.
but water carried by a matrix. That matrix slows gastric emptying and can extend the feeling of being hydrated and satiated. In other words, what ancient people did through lived experience, soaking chia before using it, is exactly the step modern users often skip. And when that step is skipped, you essentially manufacture chia's so-called side effects: your self-bloating, throat dryness, discomfort. The problem isn't the seed. The problem is that somewhere along a broken historical chain, we lost the method of use. Chia didn't naturally come back on its own. It returned because agricultural science and the market noticed something. This seed has an appealing nutritional profile, especially polyunsaturated, lipids, fiber, and plant compounds. Review papers on chia have noted that the rescue of this crop is linked to groups of farmers in certain Mexican states, and that since the 1990s, chia has gained much stronger attention following findings about its nutritional value. Here's a distinctly modern detail when a crop is rediscovered. It is often redefined in the language of its era. With chia, that language is wellness and superfoods. That is, instead of telling the story, this is a biological tool that must be used correctly. The market tells the story. This is good for everyone. In every situation, the more, the better. And that storytelling has a clear social consequence. It turns knowledge into a packaged product. You don't need to understand what mucilage is. You just need to buy it. You don't need to know how ALA differs from EPA, DHA. You just need to believe in omega-3. You don't need to understand how the glycemic index relates to viscosity in the gut. You just need to hear blood sugar stabilization. That is the reality of superfoods. The benefits may be real, but the interpretation often detaches mechanism from conditions of use. And once the mechanism is detached, user experience becomes polarized. Those who use it correctly feel the effect. Those who use it incorrectly feel the nuisance. And both groups are guided by simplified market narratives. The most common modern mistake with chia is treating it like an unconditional pill. Yet, at its core, chia is a hydrophilic material that produces mucilage. It absorbs water, forms gel, and changes the digestive environment. Every material has operating rules. If you ask, what does chia do? The most accurate answer is it forms a fiber-rich gel matrix that can slow absorption and increase satiety. But to get that, you must do something very boring: soaking. Proper chia consumption is not folk wisdom. It's a physical requirement. Eating it dry or barely soaked makes the seeds draw water inside the digestive tract, creating throat dryness and bloating. And that is the source of many reported chia side effects. The second mistake is misunderstanding omega-3. Chia is rich in ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3. But ALA is not the same as EPA, DHA. The body's conversion is limited, so chia can be a valuable part of the diet. But it shouldn't be exaggerated as a replacement for all omega-3 sources. The third mistake is swapping the goal using chia for rapid weight loss while neglecting balanced meals. The gel can make you feel full, but fullness is not the same as nutritional adequacy. Chia is a governor, not the main engine. Forgotten history sometimes contains scientific truths that we only relearn later. In modern language, chia is not a miracle cure. It is a biological tool designed to manage water. When you soak it properly and use it in the right context, you are leveraging mucilage as a fiber matrix, supporting satiety and absorption kinetics. When you use it incorrectly, side effects appear not as a curse, but as the predictable consequence of physics and biochemistry.